Star Citizen promises the ultimate space sandbox where players can be anything haulers, fighters, pirates. But what happens when gameplay systems collide and nobody wins? In a universe designed for emergent gameplay, we've somehow created dead end situations that leave everyone frustrated. You know those moments. You're hauling medical supplies from Clio to Lorville, everything's quiet, just you and the hum of your C2's engines. Then suddenly, three contacts appear on radar. Your heart instantly goes from zero to pounding out of your chest. That peaceful cargo run you were half watching while scrolling through Discord? Now you're sitting up straight, palms sweaty, full attention on your screens. And that's exactly how it should feel, right? That rush is what makes Star Citizen different from just being a pretty space trucking simulator. But something's fundamentally broken in this interaction. The current system creates these weird Mexican standoffs where nobody walks away happy. The piracy versus griefing debate cuts right to the core of what Star Citizen is trying to be. Piracy is legitimate gameplay. Interdiction, negotiation, the threat of force to extract value. It's setting up a mantis at a key quantum route choke point with fighter support, forcing a hauler to make hard choices. Griefing violates the terms of service, deliberately harassing players through pad ramming or exploiting mechanics with no gameplay purpose. God, what's a good way to put it? It's like the difference between a bank heist movie and someone just smashing the car windows in a parking lot. One creates stories worth telling later, the other just creates victims. Here's the thing almost no one talks about. There's this massive economic imbalance between risk and reward in these encounters. When you spend hours collecting 5 million credits of cargo in your C2 or Caterpillar, you're making a calculated risk assessment. But for pirates, the current system creates this bizarre all-or-nothing situation. Total cargo acquisition or complete failure. Remember the last Nine Tails lockdown? So many haulers getting interdicted near outposts would immediately flee to armistice zones, creating these awkward standoffs where both sides just stare at each other. Nobody having fun, nobody winning, just wasted time and frustration on both sides. And with quantum interdiction mechanics as they exist right now, a solo hauler with valuable freight has practically zero chance against a coordinated pirate group. That mantis locks you down, and then what? Your C2 isn't outrunning those arrows and gladiuses. But this isn't about right and wrong, it's about creating gameplay where both sides actually want to participate. I mean, think about your last player encounter while moving cargo or hunting targets. How did it end? Was anyone actually satisfied? Check Spectrum forums sometime. That thread, Piracy versus Griefing, the eternal debate, has been active for 3 years now. Just page after page of people talking past each other, calling names, nobody changing their minds. Get good versus go play another game. Comments get heated, nothing gets resolved. Players arguing that solo haulers deserve whatever they get. Haulers claiming every pirate is a griefer. Meanwhile, CIG is kind of stuck in the middle trying to build systems that work for everyone. Game design should create interesting choices, not binary outcomes. When a cargo hauler reaches an armistice zone, the current mechanics create this weird deadlock. Remember that time in your Constellation Andromeda? Negotiating with that pirate crew in their A2 bomber backed by 2 gladiuses? You positioned yourself at Bezdek on Daymar where they couldn't easily destroy your ship without losing the cargo they wanted. That 45-minute standoff led to actual player interaction. You paid them 20% of your cargo value as protection money, and they escorted you to your destination. That experience had depth, tension, player agency, everything that's missing from the pad ramming scenario we just watched. You probably remember that run last trading season in your C2. Almost everything you owned, 1.3 million credits, invested in Laranite. The routing seemed safe enough, but near Ariel, quantum disruption field. Mantis and 2 buccaneers appear out of nowhere. Heart pounding so hard you could barely type in the chat. You tried negotiating, but they demanded everything. In desperation, you cut a deal. You'd jettison 30% if they'd let you go. They agreed. As you started dropping cargo, one impatient pirate opened fire, destroying your ship and everything in it. Even the other pirates turned on him in global chat. "That's not piracy, that's just being stupid," one said. "Nobody won. You lost everything. They got nothing but crime stats." Scroll through any Star Citizen Discord and you'll find hundreds of stories just like this. The current game mechanics push players into lose-lose situations. I'm not blaming the pirates or the haulers here. I'm saying the game systems aren't mature enough yet to support what everyone wants to do. Star Citizen is still developing these core gameplay loops. Since 3.18 introduced cargo refactor, we've seen iterations but not completion. The solution needs multiple systems working together. We need variable armistice zones instead of binary on-off switches. We need crime and reputation systems with actual consequences that persist. And we need cargo insurance with gameplay-appropriate premiums and timers based on risk assessment. There's no reason why a trader passing through a common interdiction point shouldn't have their Moby Glass flash with warnings based on recent player activity. Warning, increased pirate activity reported in this sector in the last hour. That's not hand-holding. That's basic information any space trucker would have access to. Look at how EVE Online handles this. Their security zone system creates natural risk gradients that players understand and prepare for. High sec, low sec, null sec. The rules are clear and consistently enforced through game mechanics, not just player reporting. Your security status matters and follows you everywhere. Actions have lasting consequences. For now, both sides need to acknowledge what we're working with. As a pirate, focus on negotiation over destruction. Dead ships yield no cargo under current mechanics. As a hauler, consider escort services or more careful route planning. Everyone should report actual griefing through proper channels while understanding that legitimate piracy, even when inconvenient for you, is part of the game's design. One of my favorites comments on this whole debate came from a player named Noobs, who said, "I definitely get both sides. The video before this was me being pirated properly, and I had nothing but admiration for the guy who did it. He got me good and I loved it." That's the difference between piracy as gameplay and griefing as harassment. You've probably heard that old joke in the averse, "How do you know someone's a Star Citizen pirate?" Don't worry, they'll explain why it's legitimate gameplay for 45 minutes straight. But beneath the jokes, there's a real question about what kind of game we all want Star Citizen to be. When someone's camping an outpost with a mantis during Ninetales, that's not some deeply tactical pirate operation. That's just waiting for fish in a barrel. As one player put it, pirates sitting above an armistice zone with a snare should trigger a police response. And they're right. In a system like Stanton with corporate security everywhere, why wouldn't there be rapid response to illegal quantum interdiction? For all the talk about immersion and realism, we have planetary outposts with no security, no turrets, nothing but an invisible magic bubble that prevents weapons from firing. That's neither immersive nor satisfying for anyone. Here's what you should do right now if you're hauling cargo. First, accept that piracy is legitimate gameplay, but pad ramming is not. Report it through proper channels with video evidence. Second, consider hiring escorts. There are organizations dedicated to providing security services. I know hauling margins are tight, but losing 10% to security beats losing 100% to pirates. Third, vary your routes and timing. Predictability is a trader's worst enemy. Fourth, be prepared to negotiate. Losing 30% beats losing everything. As one commenter said, if you have 5 million aUEC in cargo, maybe you're willing to lose 1 million to save 4 million. If piracy interests you, focus on creating interactive gameplay. Use voice comms for demands instead of just opening fire, give reasonable time for compliance, and honor your agreements. Disruption and combat should create opportunities for negotiation, not just destruction. Your reputation will follow you as the verse develops, especially with the reputation system expanding. And if you're on either side, push CIG to develop better systems. We need hangars instead of landing pads. We need NPC security responses that scale with the security level of the area. We need physical security measures instead of magic no-shoot zones. And we need crime stats that actually mean something beyond a temporary inconvenience. One player suggested, replace Armistice with patrols and size 8 to 9 turrets. Patrols engage any ship that has a criminal on board. Another said, any active snares in Stanton should immediately trigger security presence because security should have a monopoly on QT snaring. These are the kinds of suggestions that could create better gameplay for everyone. The most frustrating part of watching that pad ramming scenario wasn't just the griefing, it was that both sides lost. The hauler lost 5 million credits of cargo, the pirates got nothing, and everyone wasted time in a standoff that ended with someone breaking the rules out of frustration. As Noobs himself said, we were all losers in that. What was your most memorable encounter with another player in the verse? Was it fair gameplay or griefing? The community grows stronger when we discuss these interactions openly rather than retreating to separate echo chambers of Care Bears and griefers throwing insults at each other. Join a Discord where players organize both trading convoys and legitimate piracy operations, because understanding both sides creates better players and a healthier game environment. Between emergent gameplay and incomplete mechanics lies the most interesting part of Star Citizen's development journey. As server meshing and persistent entity streaming mature, these interactions will only become more complex and frequent. The community that figures out how to make them work for everyone will define Star Citizen's culture for years to come. Until next time, fly safe or dangerous, but either way, fly with purpose.